So when you kind of start your business, and this is true for anyone, but you can also take this for any established business who needs to drive money quickly. The techniques are the same, and actually the order in which we tackle and look to help you grow your business again are the same if you need to get money into the business quickly. You have the long-term approach, which is all of the stuff that we talk about, brand building and awareness and all the really nice stuff that you do over time. You absolutely 100% should do that. But there's a different approach to drive money quickly, which is what I'm kind of going to talk about today. But please keep it in the context of the bigger picture of what we actually kind of want to do. So I'm just going to draw the axes in black, and I'll go purple, orange as well. Okay. So if we plot money against time, and I'm going to be crude and I'm going to treat this in the case study in which it came in, which was to do with a freelancer, but you could also treat it for any business of any kind of size. Often when you start, there's a point where you have savings, you launch your business, but you haven't got enough customers yet to break even. So actually there's a period where you're losing money. I did this, everyone does this, it's absolutely cool. Don't worry about it. It's about knowing what to do next. If you ever can, and you're looking to set up your own side hustle business, whatever, if you can start to kind of win customers on the side or develop on the side, you can actually bring this closer, that in a dream world, before you actually set up on your own, you're already at the break-even point where you're not losing money every month. Is that cool? But the point is, everyone goes through this. For me, it probably was 6 months. So I set up in the October of 2019. Although I, bits and bobs and I projects, and my first client was actually in New York, which was very cool. And then I had some other stuff, but it was all like one-off thing. It wasn't regular income. Often for a lot of people, the dream is to have that sustained regular income. But then the point is to actually get to the point where you start to break even, you're not losing money anymore, and then starting to grow. The challenge is we want to get to this point as quickly as we can, because what happens for a lot of people and a lot of businesses is that basically you run out of runway. So the amount of time that you have between when you launch and when you run out of cash, which would be basically going to zero, is what we call your runway. So for me, whenever you set up, you want at least 6 months of kind of buffer time to kind of get things in order to kind of get there. I had 24 when I first set up, but the point is it's about having that buffer there, that it will take longer than you think, but actually it's better to be forewarned and forearmed. So what I recommended to James in the session is that when you kind of launch and grow a business, there's lots of stuff that we want to do, which is your brand, your look, your feel, your logos, your website, your social media content, your live streams, your podcasts, all that kind of cool stuff that a lot of people want to create. Websites, everyone always wants kind of perfection. But the truth is, all that kind of stuff is mega, mega important, but it's long term. So, but what I mean by that is that actually, as you get further into your business, and so I've been running for about 2 years now it really starts to kick in and it drives better conversion rates and that kind of thing. But basically, for anyone in the first 6 months or any business that needs to drive revenue quickly, it's all to do with sales. It's actually just making sure that people know what they can buy and actually asking for it. So what we're going to talk about today is sales and why this is super, super important for anyone that needs to drive money quickly. So the first thing that we really need to kind of nail down is making sure that people know what can they buy and really making it clear. So what? If you are a freelancer like this chap was, there are two sides to what you should always kind of consider. One is what you want to sell. So say if I want to be a management consultant, bad example, because say if I want to be a ballet dancer or a chef, that's the dream that I want to kind of follow a particular path. It could be that I want to do a particular project management role or whatever. But the point is, in that first 6 months when you're looking to drive revenue just to cover your bills and stay alive, don't be too prescriptive so that don't tell people that they can only hire you for one thing. Realistically, what you want to do is reach out to friends and colleagues and lots of different people that might respect you and know you. And this is where we talk about your personal brand and stuff. and almost ask, is there anything you can do to help? And what you really want to do is make it clear that you're now available, that people can hire you, and you have a specialism in a certain area. But actually, if you limit yourself to a particular niche, there might be friends and colleagues that would hire you to help them in their business. But if you say that you only do one particular task, that doesn't help them with potential problems that they have elsewhere. And the point is, if you limit yourself, less people are going to have the ability or want to hire you. And obviously, when they hire you, they pay you. And the whole point is that you can then use that cash to build the brand, build more awareness, and essentially going back to the other page, it's all about surviving that gap. So basically, although people want to know what they can buy and how they can do it. So you want to just set up your website, set up your socials, and make it clear what people can do. But the point is, ask. Find different people within your network that you already kind of know and trust, and actually reach out to them and say, hi, I'm Steve, I know we know each other. I've recently set up to do this, but actually, is there anything I can do to help you in the business? I'm really good at sales, project management, strategy, whatever. But the point is, be open to new things, because actually, when every business goes through a period where you might pivot or change or learn or adapt, that happens through consumer feedback. But the more you can actually be open to solving the problems that other people have, it will actually help you just get through that valley of death to get to sustainability. And it's almost that kind of thing. But one of the things which came out, which I thought was really interesting in the session on Tuesday, was that a lot of people are technical specialists in a particular area. So it could be in tech, in coding, in that kind of thing. But they don't necessarily know how to do business development and sales. So one of the points that I made, and I'm going to talk about today, is basically if you are within your network, and I'm going to use LinkedIn as an example, but it could be your phone book, your office space, it could be whatever you want. Basically, you want a list of people that you can target. So on the course and what we talk about, and from a B2B kind of context, LinkedIn is brilliant for this. It's basically you can actually download your LinkedIn network and your contacts. So this chap had circa 300 kind of connections. If you have more, that's even better. But basically, you can actually download your contacts in terms of a spreadsheet, a CSV file. You then put that into, say, Microsoft Excel or whatever your kind of spreadsheet program is, but then rank the people from best to worst in terms of actually, can they hire you or can they not? So basically, you take your list. The way that I do it is basically, are they someone that can hire you and they're worth talking to? So I might just put yes or no, as simple as that. And the idea is you would go through your list of, say, 300 people and pick out the business owners, the people that could buy your service, and basically put them as a yes, and then sort the fields. And the idea is that you take that list of 300 people or 3,000 people or 20,000 people and rank the people who are most of interest for your business. And then basically what we want to do is approach them. So on the course, we call it your chat up line, but essentially what we're looking to do here is have a kind of 1 or 2 line approach, super friendly, super nice, that basically says, hi, I'm Steve, I've recently set up, is there anything I can do to help you within the business? I would love to have a chat. Something nice and that, kind of point, but the point is you have to actually ask. Your list of people that you want to talk to in order to drive sales. And just as a prime example is that if you rely on traditional marketing kind of methods and Twitter and Facebook and that kind of thing, that's all long-term brand stuff, which is great, but it won't drive sales today to help you get through that kind of process. The more people you ask and the better you get your message, the more successful you'll be. But don't be surprised if you reach out to 100 people. The stat is that only 3% of your potential customers are ready to buy today. So if you reach out to 100 people, don't be surprised if 97 of them aren't interested, because that's today. It doesn't mean that they won't be interested in a month's time, in 3 months' time, in 3 years' time. It's just today when you ask, that they're just not ready yet. But the point is, you also still have to approach 200, 300, 500, 600 people to start to get the inquiries through, to drive through your pipeline to actually kind of get sales. And it doesn't happen overnight, so don't expect it to happen overnight. But the point is, for anyone who's looking to drive sales quickly, basically develop your list of targets, rank them in terms of people that are worth speaking to and people that aren't. There's no point spending days and weeks chasing people that can never buy your kind of stuff. So you really want to kind of put your focus in, and then just start talking to people. Be there, get the responses, and be there is like, you know, someone that they can trust and call on. And there's loads of things that we can do to kind of build trust over time. But relating back to this, when they check you out, which they will, I have lots of people approach me on everything from Instagram to LinkedIn, whatever. If they then go through and Google you and look for your website and you don't have a website, or it's garbage or whatever, they're not going to hire you. So it's still important to kind of make it clear online what people can buy. But that alone will not drive sales. What you need to do is actually create your list of people that you want to target and actually start to ask. And that's the distinction for anyone that kind of recently sets up, or any business that needs to drive sales quickly. The brand stuff is great, but the one thing it'll do is sales, activation, asking, approaching people, and really crank that handle and get those numbers up. And that's the most important thing to do in kind of the first 6 months of when you first set up. And often people don't really talk about it. They only ever talk about the longer term stuff, the email marketing stuff, the podcasts, the whatever. But actually, unless you reach out and physically approach people, as in with a direct ask of, can you offer to help? Is there anything you can help with? Can you get feedback on your product? Whatever, you're probably going to fail. And it was just something I wanted to talk about, which is hopefully of interest. But if you've got any questions, anything, please feel free to get in touch. Or if you comment in the chat, it should pop up as well, and I'll happily kind of interact and stuff as well.